A question of access for medical marijuana. New rules in San Diego could make a difference for patients who need it.
It always comes down to Florida, doesn't it?
We are going to win the state of Ohio, and it will be a whole new ballgame.
Tomorrow, a make it or break it moment for presidential hopefuls. The factors leading up to the delegate counting game ahead of the Super Duper Tuesday contests.
There's a lot of beautiful things about this hotel and a lot of history that is very important, I think.
The beachside resort has welcomed anyone from international tourists to Hollywood royalty. The new management taking over, plus what the Hotel del Coronado means to San Diego. KPBS Evening Edition starts now. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. It's a mistake that could lead to a major scandal. That's the conclusion from law enforcement experts who are reviewing efforts to investigate internal corruption allegations at the U.S. Customs and Border Protection. They found there was little movement on the number of agents assigned to the task. An advisory panel urged the nation's largest law enforcement agency to double the number of internal affairs criminal investigators to 550. Next year's budget calls for an increase of only 30 investigators. A massive hiring surge over the last decade fueled concerns about corruption, use of force, and lack of transparency. New details tonight on a San Diego man accused of lying in the middle of an international terror investigation. Today, Mohammed Kodamati is sentenced to 8 years in prison. He took a plea deal last October. He admitted to making false statements when FBI and State Department officials questioned him at the U.S. Embassy in Ankara, Turkey. He also said he lied about being involved with the fighting against the Syrian regime. The men's basketball coach at the University of California, Berkeley, says he is moving to fire an assistant coach who violated the school's sexual harassment policy. This comes just days after UC President Janet Napolitano updated the process for reviewing claims of harassment against administrators. She ordered all school leaders to complete sexual assault and harassment training by the end of next week. The university system has faced criticism over its handling of sexual assaults on campus. The only emergency room in downtown Escondido is closing its doors today. The Palomar Health Organization has planned to shut down the aging hospital since June of 2015. Palomar's medical director, Jaime Rivas, says most patients who've been going to the downtown ER don't need emergency services.
Less than 1% end up requiring admission to a hospital. So that gives you an idea that the majority of the patients are semi-urgent or not urgent. They're just walk-in patients that are seeking health care.
And Palomar Health says several clinics in the area will pick up the slack. Emergency cases will now go to Palomar Medical Center. It's about to get a tiny bit easier to open up a medical marijuana dispensary in San Diego. KPBS Metro reporter Andrew Bowen says the measure was tucked inside a package of city code updates the City Council approved today.
San Diego's pot dispensary regulations are notoriously strict. The businesses can't be within 1,000 feet of a park, school, or another dispensary. Now the city will measure that distance along actual city streets, rather than a straight line that may cut through buildings or freeways or other barriers. Hardly groundbreaking, but advocates say it's a step in the right direction. This
change, although very small, could have a really positive impact in opening up the zoning just a little bit. And that's all we need. Those who are part of the regulated cannabis industry are happy with the small incremental steps.
San Diego currently has just over a dozen legal cannabis dispensaries. Don't expect to change overnight. Opening up a legal dispensary is still difficult and expensive, and one of the city's strictest rules is still in place. No city council district can have more than 4 dispensaries. Andrew Bowen, KPBS News.
The people who operate charter schools in San Diego say an update to the city's land use code will make it a lot easier to get their schools up and running. The San Diego City Council passed the reforms at today's meeting. Prior to this, charter school principals said it could take them up to 2 years to get a land use permit.
Our school facility got caught up in a maze of city regulations, and our facility wasn't ready in time for the start of the school year. Even with an experienced land use consultant and architect.
And City Council members say the new regulations will put charter schools on the same legal footing as the public school system for opening new facilities. The update of the land use code will make it easier to open many other facilities, including medical marijuana dispensaries. One of San Diego's most beloved landmarks has a new owner today. It was a $6.5 billion deal that cemented the acquisition of the Hotel del Coronado by a Chinese insurance company. Beijing-based Anbang Insurance Group has been investing in luxury hotels in the U.S., including the purchase of New York's Waldorf Astoria last year. As part of the deal, Blackstone Group sold 16 luxury properties, including the Hotel Del and 3 other Southern California hotels.
This is such a unique place. There's just I don't know. There's just a lot of history, a lot of uniqueness to it, and it. I would not like to see it get turned into some sort of chain.
Coronado City Councilman Bill Sankey told KPBS in a statement that the community takes a personal interest in the Del and KSL retains the management contract. He says this should see little change from an outward perspective. Tomorrow, a make-it-work moment for presidential hopefuls on the campaign trail. Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton have their eyes on the next big round of primaries when Florida and Ohio go to the polls. Associated Press reporter Kelly Daschle says their rivals are looking at March 15th as their last best shot to stop them.
Fresh off victories in the Midwest and the South, Donald Trump has his eye on the prize, while his rivals see one last chance to stop him. The March 15th primaries, what some are calling Super Duper Tuesday. 5 states hold contests that day, including Florida with 99 delegates and Ohio with 66. Both are winner take all.
If Trump can get these big prizes, it gives him a much larger lead. And frankly, a candidate who has that much of a lead by the middle of March is almost impossible to stop.
It always comes down to Florida, doesn't it?
For Marco Rubio, it's a make-or-break moment. The senator has won few contests so far and is currently trailing Trump in Florida by double digits.
It's really hard to imagine how Rubio would stay in the race if he loses Florida. If you lose in your home state in particular, it really sends a message.
A message John Kasich looks to avoid in his home state. Polls show the governor gaining ground against Trump in Ohio, and he believes momentum is on his side.
We are going to win the state of Ohio, and it will be a whole new ballgame.
Texas Senator Ted Cruz hoping Tuesday will knock off both Kasich and Rubio, finally setting the stage for a 2-man battle. A prospect causing considerable angst among Republican leaders.
Facing somebody who is a complete disaster when it comes to their own policy agenda in Trump, against somebody who they despise, they'll probably swallow hard and try to get behind Cruz.
Thank you so much, Tampa.
On the Democratic side, Hillary Clinton's camp is eyeing the March 15th map with cautious optimism, as polls show her with a lead in most of the 5 states casting ballots.
If Clinton does win Ohio, if she wins Florida, we may then turn back to the notion that her nomination is inevitable.
But the Sanders campaign insists its surprise victory in Michigan last Tuesday was a game changer and believes other Rust Belt states like Ohio and Illinois will follow suit.
I have a feeling that you want to see this country move toward a political revolution.
There are no winner-take-all states Tuesday on the Democratic side, so both candidates will continue to rack up delegates. Though Clinton is now halfway to the number needed to clinch the nomination, Sanders has a huge war chest and no intention of stopping, leaving both sides bracing for a long haul ahead. Kelly Daschle, Associated Press.
Follow the money. Lawmakers have introduced a new measure to revamp California's campaign finance database. The bill could make it easier to track campaign donations. The current database is called Cal Access, and it was shut down in 2011 due to bugs in its system.
Cal Access has become a Frankenstein monster of code. Code built on top of code, built on top of code, that is much more a relic of the past than a state-of-the-art campaign and lobbying disclosure system for the most populous state of the nation.
The legislation must pass through 2 separate budget committees as well as the Senate and Assembly before reaching Governor Jerry Brown for approval. California regulators are considering a plan to curb secret lobbying at the state capitol. This week, the Fair Political Practices Commission plans to vote on narrowing a regulation that allows people to avoid identifying themselves as lobbyists by attending Capitol meetings as experts. They comply with current rules by working alongside lobbyists who are properly registered. Some critics have scrutinized the regulation, arguing that it could be a way for former legislators and officials to skirt rules requiring that they wait a year after they leave office to lobby their former colleagues. The vote is scheduled for Thursday. Helping working parents spend more time with their kids. There's a new proposal in Sacramento that would let them take paid time off from work to attend school activities. Currently, the state allows parents, grandparents, and guardians to take up to 5 days of job-protected school activities leave each year. But employers don't have to pay for the time. This bill would make 3 of those 5 days off paid.
It's so important to be involved in your child's education. Studies show that this really greatly improves your child's educational chances in life. It's really critical that we give parents this opportunity to do it without forcing them to make the tough decision between paying the bills and being involved.
And the measure is expected to draw opposition from business groups concerned about higher employer costs. Lawmakers mandated paid sick leave 2 years ago, also despite business opposition. San Diego Assemblywoman Lorena Gonzalez wants to bring collective bargaining to the so-called gig economy. Her new bill would let independent contractors working for mobile app companies like Uber organize to negotiate for higher pay. It might also apply to contract workers in other industries. Gonzalez says the bill would not mean new regulations for burgeoning tech companies, but it would give a growing class of workers more protection.
That's what we're trying to do here, a free market approach of letting these workers get together and have a conversation and a negotiation with the business so that they can leverage power with their workers and they're not each treated individually and basically told this is the way it is or take a walk.
I don't think it's Assemblywoman Gonzalez just grandstanding for collective bargaining rights for people at all. I think she's addressing a very important issue. Work is changing pretty radically in the 21st century.
Contract workers aren't eligible for the minimum wage, unemployment, and other protections. A lobbying group for Uber and other internet-based companies says the bill would hurt the industry and its workers. Cleanup continued today at the Port of Los Angeles following an oil spill from a cargo ship over the weekend. The Sunday night spill prompted a hazmat response. The Los Angeles Fire Department says the vessel was carrying cars and the leak left a visible sheen in the water. The Coast Guard, California Fish and Wildlife, and Los Angeles Port Police are assisting in the investigation and monitoring the area during cleanup operations. The vessel is registered in Panama. The record release of methane from a broken Southern California gas well erased much of the progress the state has made in reducing greenhouse gases. SoCal Gas is owned by San Diego-based Sempra Energy, but experts agree the company could actually reverse that damage. Ingrid Lobet of iNewsSource explains how.
The methane released by the broken well packs a punch in the atmosphere, contributing swiftly to climate change, more beach erosion, wildfires, and extreme hot days. But Southern California Gas has promised to make up for the release.
We will develop and we will implement a plan to mitigate the leak's greenhouse gas emissions at our expense, not at the expense of our customers.
So how do you do that? You go out and find methane leaks to fix. One place to fix them, dairies.
There's lots of dairy farms in California. Dairy farms produce an awful lot of methane. they could go out there and they could work with the dairy farmers to capture that and destroy that methane that's coming off of the dairy farms.
Another main source of methane in our atmosphere is landfills. In fact, the biggest source in San Diego County is the Miramar landfill. A system of wells and pipelines does collect methane formed in the buried trash. The landfill burns it to make electricity for the Marine Corps and the city of San Diego. But close to 10,000 tons still escapes to damage the atmosphere, according to government reports.
Landfills are a dynamic system. They continue to settle and move and consolidate the trash, and so fissures and cracks develop in the surface cover, and so you do get small little areas where landfill gas does come up through the surface.
Mike Thompson says any financial help he could get improving the gas capture system would be welcome.
Nobody from SoCal has contacted us. We don't know anything about any additional monies or grants that possibly could be available.
Recently, researchers from UC Irvine and San Diego State University went on the hunt to locate other unknown methane hotspots in Southern California. The highest readings they found were at a clean truck refueling station in Long Beach. Southern California Gas could pay to clean up these sorts of places. But Tim O'Connor of Environmental Defense Fund says Southern California Gas should focus on cleaning up methane leaking from old natural gas equipment. This video is just one of dozens the organization has shot across America's gas infrastructure.
So we think there should be focus on things like abandoned and inactive oil and gas wells across California. The state estimates over 20,000 of these in California, and we know that a certain portion of them leak. We need to figure out how to inspect and reduce the amount of pollution coming from them.
SoCal Gas reiterated it's committed to working with the governor and state agencies on a framework to mitigate the greenhouse gas release. Comments are beginning to roll into the California Air Resources Board on how this large one-time reparation could be spent to address climate change. I'm Ingrid Lobet for KPBS News Partner iNewsSource.
He's been out in the sun. This is a bleached skull.
The San Diego County Medical Examiner is looking to identify more than 150 John and Jane Does in its possession and hoping to bring closure to families who are affected by the disappearance of a loved one. On Saturday, they are asking for the families to help with the process by providing valuable information along with a little DNA.
But you can have the best dental records in the world. If you have nothing to compare it with, you can't do that. And that's what is so critical about the family, providing whatever information they can from medical records, dental records, photographs, as well as those DNA swabs.
The medical examiner's office says similar events held in San Bernardino and Orange County were successful in matching families with the remains of unidentified bodies. There are more than 3,000 active missing person cases in San Diego County. The University of San Diego is dealing with a handful of students infected with the mumps virus. County health officials confirmed 5 cases of the highly contagious virus on campus in the last 2 weeks. Usually, the county reports 2 or 3 cases per year. Health officials say 2 free vaccination clinics will be held at USD this week for its undergraduate students. The city of San Diego launched a newly redesigned website today. KPBS reporter Claire Tregeser says the idea is for it to be easier for residents to use.
San Diego's city website was designed in 1999 and hasn't had a major upgrade in more than 10 years. Now it looks completely different. Instead of a jumble of links and buttons, it looks clean, with just a few buttons on top and a list of city events down the side. Mayoral spokeswoman Jen LeBron Cooney says it also has a new feature called Get It Done.
Get It Done basically asks the user for something pretty simple. What do you need to do?
If you need to report a pothole,
you have a button that you can click on, and that'll take you exactly to the spot that you need to go.
The new website costs $600,000. Unlike the old site, it can be viewed on a mobile phone. Cooney says a third of the site's visitors come through a mobile device.
The current website was not mobile friendly at all. So when we designed the new sandiego.gov, we did it with those users in mind. The entire thing uses what they call responsive design, which means that the website will be optimized regardless of what screen size you're on.
It's one thing to just slap a bunch of stuff on the homepage that what the city thinks, but we really dug into like
what do citizens want out of the website? What do they come here for? What are they doing?
Jeff Johnson is with the technology nonprofit Code for America. He volunteered his time to help plan the website. Johnson also helped build a Public Records Act request portal. There, users can ask for city documents. When the documents are ready, they'll be posted online instead of sent directly to the person who requested them. Claire Tregesser, KPBS News.
The series of storms in the Bay Area closing roads and schools while causing flooding and power outages. About 2,500 homes and businesses in the Bay Area were left without gas service after a sinkhole opened up and ruptured a gas line. But the rain also helped fill up two crucial state water reservoirs, Lake Shasta and Lake Folsom. That's good news for drought-stricken California. The high water levels mean more water resources for farmers and residents. Sunny skies and higher temperatures on tap for San Diego this week. Steph Davis shows us the warming trend in tonight's KPBS weather report.
Dealing with some clouds this Monday, even a couple of isolated showers across Southern California, and that's kind of the case across much of the Golden State. Looking at our regional satellite and radar, you'll notice these clouds and a couple of blips here on the radar indicating that spotty shower activity. But the good news is, as we head into tonight, conditions continuing to improve. Taking a closer look around San Diego itself, you'll notice these spotty showers and clouds rolling around the region. Nothing terribly widespread or heavy. And as we head into our Monday night, we'll completely dry things out with a ridge of high pressure building in. So not too bad of a night on tap for Borrego Springs. Clear and comfortable. Your overnight low is 55 degrees. Temperatures in Mount Laguna falling back near freezing. 48 in Alpine, 40 in Ramona. Flirting with 50 tonight in Oceanside, and nothing to complain about for your Monday night in San Diego. With dry conditions, clear skies, and comfortably mild temperatures will fall to an overnight low of 55 degrees. That high pressure ridge will strengthen across the southwest for our Tuesday, allowing for a largely dry forecast, and temperatures will continue to climb as well. So we're looking at a warming trend across Southern California over the next several days. Here's a look at your 5-day outlook for the coast for your Tuesday. Clouds breaking for sunshine with a high of 68 degrees. Temperatures will climb towards the midweek Wednesday with highs in the low 70s. Now we do have the chance for a shower or two on Thursday, and then sunshine returns Friday and Saturday. Pleasant conditions along the coast with our highs in the low 70s. Taking a quick peek at your 5-day outlook inland, looking fairly similar here. Clouds breaking for sunshine Tuesday, partly sunny and warmer on Wednesday, a shower in spots on Thursday, and then we'll dry things back out just in time for the weekend. Friday and Saturday look good, mostly sunny and pleasant with your daytime high around 70 degrees. Your 5-day outlook for the mountains showing lots of sunshine and warmer conditions on Tuesday with a high of 63. Beautiful weather to look forward to Wednesday and Thursday. Sunny skies Friday and Saturday with your daytime highs at 68. We'll wrap things up with the 5-day outlook for the deserts. Clouds breaking for blue skies Tuesday with a high of 81. Partly sunny and 85 degrees for your Wednesday and your Thursday. Mostly sunny and warm Friday and Saturday as daytime highs climb to the mid-80s. Steph Davis, KPBS News.
A media group is offering $45.5 million for the Orange County Register and Press Enterprise newspapers. This is ahead of an auction that's scheduled for Wednesday. The Los Angeles Daily News reported today that its owner, Digital First Media, made the bid. Freedom Communications filed for bankruptcy in November after layoffs and buyouts. There will be a hearing next week in federal bankruptcy court to approve the sale of the newspapers. It's a blast from the past. Associated Press reporter Terry Che shows us the new smartphone technology that turns the clock back on iconic travel spots.
When Andrew Feinberg visits the Tower of London, he sees more than what's in front of him. Thanks to a smartphone, a virtual reality headset, and an app called Time Looper, Feinberg can experience the iconic castle as it was in the year 1255.
We actually overlay the current infrastructure with what the infrastructure of the tower and the surrounding environment was like in 13th century London.
With Time Looper, tourists can look at historical sites like St. Paul's Cathedral and see what it looked like centuries ago.
So what Time Looper does is its immersive time travel technology enables visitors to turn back the clock and experience those destinations at key moments in their history.
Like the 1666 Great Fire of London, or what happened to Trafalgar Square when it was bombed by Nazi Germany in 1940. The different layers of history are adding a whole new dimension to the work of London tour guides.
I think it's just really, really immersive. I mean, my job is a storyteller. I'm here to conjure up what things are like. And this just gives me something else I can use, particularly with small children.
The Tower Bridge is set to launch its own time looper experience in April. Tourists will be able to see what the area looked like 350 years ago.
Our demographic, it certainly helps with that as well. We've got a hugely international demographic. So we don't want to be translating endless amounts of text. We want everything to be as visual and immersive as possible.
Traveling back in time to be a witness to history. Terry Che, Associated Press.
I'm Hari Srinivasan on the next news hour. John Yang reports from the battleground state of Ohio, a day ahead of their critical primary vote. That's Monday on the PBS NewsHour.
And on the sports front, the Aztecs fell short of the big dance this year. The San Diego State men's basketball team was knocked out of the Mountain West Tournament Championship over the weekend. Second-seeded Fresno State won the matchup on Saturday, 68-63. Yesterday's no bid from the NCAA selection committee meant the Aztecs will miss the tournament for the first time in 6 seasons. But their season isn't over just yet. The team received a bid from the National Invitation Tournament, also called NIT. They will host their first game tomorrow night at 7 o'clock at Viejas Arena. And you can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. From all of us here at KPBS, thanks for watching and have a great evening.